10 o'clock on this Thursday. Welcome into three-man front. Landrum Roberts, Conrad Van Order, Molly Robinson. Pat back with us tomorrow. Hope everyone is doing well. Conrad, Molly, hope everything went well yesterday.
It was fantastic.
Pretend that it did.
No, we had a good time.
No, it was great.
I'm sure that you did.
Thought we had a banner show.
Yep. Was National Signing Day the start of the early signing period? Are we supposed to start calling it that now?
I'll be honest with you.
Was it active?
I don't know. Yeah, I was calling it the early signing period because that's what we've called it for ever up until I guess maybe now. But no, it was a lot of excitement yesterday. Again, it's not as glorious of a day as it used to be, right? No. It's a little different now. It means something different. But I think, again, if you're Alabama, you feel pretty good. You have a top 6 class, depending on where you look. You feel pretty good about that. And then Auburn coming together with a new head coach trying to put together a class for next year. They made a work to do, but they made a big jump yesterday. So that was good to see on both sides.
Yeah, they were able to flip some guys, and you got some guys that are coming over from Alex Golesh. It's pretty easy, I think, to identify in some of these guys that he thinks their ability translates at any level. So I don't know if he's picking and choosing. Didn't expect him to take that entire class, but just interesting some of the pieces that it looks like he's going to be bringing with him.
Yeah, and I think the one that is always going to get most attention, right, is a quarterback that was committed to USF that flipped. Reese Brush, I believe was his name, who's now going to Auburn. But I think a lot of the intrigue as well is going to come when the portal opens, and how many players from USF and other places does Auburn try to bring in? We know Byron Brown, the quarterback, a lot of belief there that he would follow Golesh to the plains of Auburn. But whether it's recruiting or through the portal, I think there's a lot of things to be excited and optimistic about for next year already if you're an Auburn fan.
Yeah, meanwhile, for Alabama, you mentioned top 6. Depends on where you look, but you look at the number of guys in the class, quality class for Kalen DeBoer, even with a couple of I don't know if it was expected yesterday, but what they have with the 20 players as opposed to USC, they're on top with the 35. Not saying they don't have quality guys. They do. Lincoln Riley had him a nice class. But Alabama, solid job by Kalen DeBoer.
Absolutely. And it was very interesting for anybody that didn't see it. There was an interview with Courtney Morgan yesterday where they were kind of talking to they were kind of going through some of the, I guess, philosophy of signing day for Alabama and how they try to build their roster. And he brought up that exact point you just said of, you look at who has the best recruiting classes in the country and they're signing 30-plus kids. And he said he straight up said it might not be realistic to expect Alabama to have a top 5 class every year anymore, but not because they're not out there getting quality players. It's because their focus is on bringing in kids and retaining the talent on their roster. And he brings up the point of, you look at a USC, well, the reason you're bringing in 35 kids in the recruiting class is because you got a lot of guys leaving in the portal. And so Alabama around that 20 range for the recruiting class is right where they want it to be. And they feel pretty confident that they're going to be able to maintain a lot of the guys that they brought in this past year. I mean, you look, they got 8 freshmen that are contributors this year, and they want to keep those guys. And some of these guys they signed yesterday, you would imagine, are going to have an opportunity to play and make an impact next year. So it's an interesting philosophy, a little bit different than what we're used to, but I think quality over quantity, anybody would take that.
At the latest 247 rankings, USC, they're on top with the 35 that they have in their class. Mm-hmm. Oregon is next with 21, so maybe a little more of what
that's a heck of a class right there for Oregon.
That's a heck of a class, but maybe prescribing more to. Well, they're giving out insane amounts of money. But it's not reckless.
No, but they also, I mean, again,
because they're able to pluck from different parts of the country, but they're paying a lot of money for it.
Absolutely, and I mean, I think Oregon's one of those places in terms of just consistency, right? I feel like that's one of the places they kind of have a unified front. They know what they're trying to do, and yeah, well, you got 21 kids in your number 2 class. That means you got some really, really talented kids in there.
After Oregon at 2, you got Notre Dame at 3, 27 in their class. Alabama at 4. Georgia at 5 with 30 in Kirby's class. Ohio State, Tennessee is 7. Texas 8. Texas A&M 9. Miami at 10. Then the rest of the SEC. LSU is at 12. Oklahoma 15. Florida 16. South Carolina 23rd, according to 247. Mississippi State 26. Vanderbilt, 31.
And that's with...
Thank you, Jared Curtis.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's with Jared Curtis, yep.
Ole Miss still with a 33rd ranking, according
Well, that's what they like to be. They're the Portal Kings.
Missouri at 34, Auburn at 35, Arkansas at 56, and Kentucky at 65.
So there you go. That's pretty. I mean, again, that just goes to show you. Again, you've got 14 of the top 16 teams in the SEC with the top 35 recruiting classes in the country. So yeah, a lot of talent in the SEC and a pretty good day for a lot of schools. We had some fun with it yesterday. You're just glad you're not Penn State on National Signing Day yesterday.
Yeah, and what's going on with that Penn State coaching search?
We can get into that, but
it's a mess. I was looking at some of the Vegas odds, and I'll be honest, one of the names that came up there, I don't know if they did it as a joke. It's like the guy who runs the site.
Yeah.
Like, just throw his name in there. I had no idea who the guy was.
Yeah, they have
one of the people that they gave odds on. I had no idea.
We were talking about it yesterday, and during the show, after we brought it up, you had Brent Key and Jeff Brom, who were both, kind of on the hot board. And both of them, during our show yesterday, Brent Key signs a new deal at Georgia Tech. Jeff Brom tells Louisville, I'm not going anywhere. And so now the reports I saw yesterday is they're going to promote their interim coach, Terry Smith. But when you look, I looked this morning, they were 165th in recruiting. They have 2 commitments as of 3 hours ago.
And one is the guy that committed to Hugh Freeze at Auburn.
Yes, you're absolutely
Peyton
right.
Falzone.
And another one, they had another kid. They had 3 commitments entering the day. Now they have 2. One of them is the Auburn kid, and they lost one to, guess where? Virginia Tech.
That's right.
You got to love it. And
That's
we
right.
had
He flipped somebody.
Did you see the crumble cookie thing? We were having fun with that yesterday. Did you see what
So you're going to love this, Landon.
So for their recruiting or signing day yesterday at Virginia Tech, you know how we were talking about the crumble cookie guy at BYU being the big money booster. So who was Penn State trying to hire? Kalani Sitake, right? Crumble cookie guy says, I'll put some money for it. Let's keep him here. So James Franklin yesterday has crumble cookies on display all over Virginia Tech for their signing day.
It was the dessert of choice for their signing day.
It is. College football is the best reality TV out there.
It really is. So signing day, that yesterday officially starting the early signing period. We got other big prospects that are out there that are still waiting to sign, and we'll keep you up to date on any major moves.
I know Auburn, Jace Matthews still out there.
Yeah, I'm just glad to see that while I was doing games yesterday and in between, somebody came up to me and he said, "Hey, did you hear the news on Ryan Williams?" I said, "No. What's the news on Ryan Williams?" I didn't get a text. I didn't know what. Oh yeah, he's gone. He's gone. So the story that went out from 2.7 or 724 Sports.
Yes, that is one that has gotten a lot of people lately.
Yep, it started making its way around social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that doesn't sound right. It seems like that there would be more buzz. Well, and then as I clicked through my phone, I realized.
Well, I think a lot of people we had fun with it on the show too, is that Auburn flipped a receiver from Alabama yesterday. His name is Brian Williams. Not Ryan, Brian Williams.
Brian Williams.
So maybe that people are having some fun with that too. But
is that the guy that used to be on NBC?
Sure, sure. We'll go with that. But we talked about Ryan Williams yesterday. We'll see. Yep. Maybe we get some text on.
We got a lot to talk about with Alabama, though.
Absolutely.
Rodney Orr coming up at the top of the hour. We'll talk about the Tide signing class, maybe some other additions that could be still lurking out there. But Alabama and Georgia, the big news coming out for Alabama, it's the availability participation report. LT Overton is the name that is buzzing. Conrad, your reaction is a die-hard, tried and true.
Yeah, it's certainly not good. There's no getting around that. I mean, the reality is, right, both of these teams are super banged up going into it, but LT Overton, we know, is one of the disruptors on that defensive line. And it's interesting because earlier in the week when they were talking with the reporters after practice one day, Tim Keenan was actually talking about the matchup, and he was asked where he thought maybe Alabama had the biggest advantage. And he thought Alabama's defensive line versus Georgia's offensive line was going to be where the game could be won for Alabama. He thought that was the biggest mismatch in the game, was that Alabama's defensive line was going to be able to dominate the trenches. Well, now are you going to be able to do that with LT Overton? And I brought it up this morning. I know they don't play the same position, but this is a time where you kind of look back and you go, it's really nice that Quay Russaw was able to come back because he doesn't play the same exact role, but in terms of having that guy able to go and create pressure, maybe that alleviates a little bit of what you're losing with LT Overton. But there's no doubt about it. That's one of your best defensive players, and that's just another obstacle for you to overcome. But both teams are pretty banged up right now.
This matchup, though, personnel-wise, skill position-wise, it looks so much different to me than it has in the past. Not saying that Alabama doesn't have those guys, but it doesn't seem to be that plethora of playmakers, especially on the outside, that we've seen in some of these matchups.
Well, and you would look on paper, and I mean, it was kind of like the first time they played this year, right? Where you look and you go, okay, the advantage for Alabama is they have a better wide receiver room, they have a better quarterback in terms of, being able to pass the ball, move the ball down the field. I don't know if you say that necessarily anymore, kind of like you're talking about, right? With Georgia, I think we've seen they're almost going different ways, right?
Well,
Like
if
we've seen
it's
Gunnar Stockton get better while Ty Simpson has, not that he's been bad, but he hasn't been as good as he was the first time they played.
right, and if you got Ryan Williams playing like Ryan Williams we saw in the first half of last season, then that wide receiver room a lot more daunting, right? So what Ryan Williams do you get?
I was about to say this would be an excellent time for him to have a career day on Saturday against Georgia, but it's been kind of up and down, right? Jeremy, we know like that's your tried and true, right? Jeremy, he's good. You don't have to worry about him, but now you don't have Cuevas. That's kind of been your safety net. Ryan Williams, who knows what you're going to get? And then Isaiah Horton, right? He has 3 touchdowns last week against Auburn. He's had those games this year, but then he's had games where you wouldn't even know he was on the field, right? So that consistency for Alabama is going to be big. And I absolutely think if they want to win on Saturday, Ryan Williams is going to have to touch the football and make something happen.
Jam Miller listed as questionable. I don't know, in this offense, if you get a 65-70% Jam Miller healthy, is that going to help you?
If you get the Jam Miller of last week against Auburn in the Iron Bowl, yeah, because that was the best that he's looked all year. And I think that's the reality for Jam, right?
But it's 70%.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that if that's the case, you probably kind of pick and choose your touches for him. I would think the big thing for him, again, we know is his ability in pass protection and what he can do there, right? If he's able to do that, then you absolutely stick him out on the field. But I think you're going to see a lot of Daniel Hill. I think they're going to continue to try to get A.K. Deer touches, maybe even Dre Washington. So we'll see if Jam's able to go. I will say this. I know Josh Cuevas was listed as questionable. Don't be expecting him to be on the field. He's questionable on the report. I don't think that's happening.
All right, we're going to dive into this matchup. We'll get your phone calls, your texts. Rodney Orr, as I mentioned at the top of the hour from Tider Insider, kind of breaking this down, what he's hearing there in Tuscaloosa. 800-239-WJOX. Text line is open as well, 205-834-9450. More college football news that you need to know as we continue the Thursday edition of Three Man Front on Jocks. 10-16, three-man front, lands from Conrad and Molly. Hope you're doing well on this Thursday. We got championship football coming up tomorrow night. You've got Troy in action. You got Jacksonville State in action. You got John Summerall led Tulane that'll be playing, so that'll be a lot of fun, and more on Alabama and Georgia and a preview of the SEC championship game coming up on Saturday.
Well, you don't want to get caught in the cold, so schedule your system checkup now from a Train comfort specialist. Train has been recognized for 11 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jock. So go and visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you.
We do have more texts coming in, reaction to Jam Miller, questions on how much he's going to play, some Ryan Williams, some Alabama, Georgia stuff. We'll get to those texts, but first, didn't know if you guys mentioned it, discussed it, because we've had Lane Kiffin just overflow. But the report that Florida State was a secret suitor that was attempting to, I don't know how serious the talks, I'm guessing that any talks that come out of Tallahassee these days are serious.
My understanding was that maybe the issue was money.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, when you have to pay
Imagine
that buyout
that.
for Mike Norvell, and then you're
Imagine
trying to
that.
compete with, the whatever, 13.5 million he was being offered elsewhere.
Hey, we want to pay a $60 million buyout and go and set a record for what we're going to pay our next coach.
Correct. Well, I guess that's what LSU did, but it's LSU.
If there was one school that could do it, it would be Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Maybe Texas A&M.
Yes.
Yeah. Not maybe. They could do it.
And apparently LSU, I guess, is now in that same category because they did kind of the same thing with Brian Kelly, but wouldn't that be something?
Lane at Florida State?
I would be curious to know how interested he was in that job.
I don't think I could see that.
I just
It's hard for me to
making the
picture.
move to the ACC?
Well, that's my
Yeah.
thing. Is compared to what you would have had in front of you with LSU and Florida, I just think those are more attractive jobs than Florida State, personally.
I think that was put out there more for Lane. This is how many people want me. If he actually polled his staff and said, "Here's our choices."
So this actually goes back to was it Monday when he did his introductory? Whenever he had his intro press conference at LSU, one of the things that he mentioned that there were 4 schools that were going after him. And we all knew, right, it was Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida. And a lot of people were saying, oh, well, the other one was Alabama because if Kalen DeBoer left, he wanted the Alabama job, which I do think if that had happened, he would want the Alabama job. But guess the 4 team he was talking about, Florida State, not Alabama. I could be wrong, but that's just, he said that. We know Ole Miss, Florida, and LSU. Now we hear the FSU rumors. It seems like maybe that was the school he was talking about.
Well, that would be interesting with John Summerall at Florida, and apparently they have a relationship. They talk. What Lane Kiffin told him, he was actually a perfect fit for the Florida job.
Yes, that was a great way to start the press conference. I don't know if y'all saw it yesterday, but Joe Burrow, when he was meeting with the media, they asked him, "Hey, what do you think? You're an LSU guy. Like, what do you think about the Lane hire?" He was not a fan of it.
No, but he is a fan of PR Pauls. That was funny.
If you have not seen the latest SEC short that they put out yesterday, it is fantastic.
It goes back to our conversation that we had on Tuesday.
Yes.
Not that, but it was about Juice Kiffin, and then it's been revealed he was left behind, but he's actually been taken care of by somebody else and kind of presented. Lane Kiffin was using this as a prop, not a prop. Well, I guess you would say a prop.
No,
it was a prop.
That's fair.
That he was using.
That's not disrespectful to Juice. We love Juice. We love him.
But it was very
doesn't,
creative what our friends at SEC Shorts put together. But it's an app where if you need a dog to look like it's your dog for any occasion, then you can order the dog.
It would be very successful in the political realm. I think that's where you would make a lot of money. I'm going back and looking through it now, though. Okay, here it is. Lane did respond to that video, by the way. So he saw it, and he put some laughing emojis and it's just the lack of self-awareness for some of these things is wild. He also posted, did you see where the Juice Kiffin account tweeted something yesterday about wanting to go to Baton Rouge? And so there's a picture of a tiger, and it was Juice saying, I can't wait to go join my family in Baton Rouge.
Oh.
And Lane Kiffin.
I did see that.
Again.
He's going to be really disappointed.
Again, if you're Lane Kiffin, if you're not going to take the dog with you, do not touch this. People love dogs, and they will hate you forever because of this. That would be my advice to Lane. If you have no intention of keeping Juice or bringing him to Baton Rouge, do not ever mention this again.
Well, I hated hearing the stories about his family. Just he kept bringing. I don't know if it's true, but the people who've been doing the handling of Juice saying that, yeah, the family just kept kind of showing up with Juice and didn't really have time to take care of him.
I hate that.
Yeah, it's not.
He's a good boy.
Yeah, Lane, you're right though. Lane needs to stay away from that. That will
You
he
can't.
will be dead to some people forever.
I just still can't believe that Lane now gets to coach his potential future son-in-law.
I think that's very exciting for him. They could get married on the
On
field
the
at
field.
halftime of
But-
the Ole Miss game next year.
Yes.
But if Landry is anything like her daddy,
Oh.
week of the big game, she creates drama in the relationship with her and Whit. He doesn't know if he's going to play. He's heartbroken.
You know, I really do like that Garrett Nussmeier. He seems,
Actually, I think he's engaged.
he's not married. I'm kidding.
What if she breaks up with him and starts dating a linebacker from Ole Miss?
What if she starts dating his brother, who's also on the team?
Oh, really?
no.
Yeah, Wes, right?
Yeah.
They're not
Brothers on the
twins,
team.
right?
They look similar.
Let's see.
Don't need to go down that road.
No.
205-834-9450. Your texts are coming in. We'll get to those texts now. And this one reads, I don't think Lane is chasing a title. He's being chased by hot yoga husbands. He mimics his relationships from a Hugh Freeze offense.
That last line is
Yeah.
good. That's wouldn't that be something though to find out that maybe he had ruffled some feathers? I'm sure he's ruffled some feathers in Oxford in terms of personal
Yes.
things. All of his memories.
College football would be so much better if all the coaches loved the school like Stein at Kentucky. That was a real press conference, not some fake hype like the other guys do. I think some of them are genuinely really happy to where they are. Either, well, for a variety of reasons. Some genuinely because they're back at a place that loves them and they love.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, West is older than Whit.
Oh,
Did some research.
there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
He's got a mustache.
No.
Keep an eye
But
on
he's
that.
got a little.
Yeah. I'm sure he could grow one.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could grow one.
Someone asking CJ, in fact, what happened to Richard Young at Alabama? He was getting carries early in the year, but haven't seen him in a while.
The other guys were better. Not trying to be harsh, but I think that's just the reality of they saw something in the other guys. There's a reason he's 5th on the depth chart.
Ryan Williams is a good player. Glad he wears the crimson and white. That being said, I think we can all agree this year was a coming back to earth season. Teams have his number dialed, and he's shown some deficiencies at times.
Yeah, no, he has. Again, I mean, and he's to his credit, right? He's acknowledged that a lot of this stuff is mental. Now, I don't, as a fan, right? That doesn't make you feel any better because it just makes you more frustrated. But yeah, I think there's a mentally for him, he has struggled this year. I think the weight of the expectations on him has maybe been a little more difficult for him to navigate. And the other reality is, I don't think he likes getting hit. I think that's the football part of it. Part of it's mental. The other part is he really doesn't like getting hit.
If there's a knock, and I've heard from just unsolicited when we've been talking about it and coaches that listen to our show,
Mhm.
that if that were there was a knock from high school coaches that are familiar with him, maybe coached against him, might have coached him. It was the physicalness.
Well, and I mean,
They lack.
obviously in high school, when you're faster than everybody else, you're probably not going to get hit a whole lot. When you're in the SEC, it's kind of tough to be faster than everybody on the field every play. You're going to get hit. Part of it.
Golly, watching that Sarah Land team last year without him. Oof, couldn't imagine with him.
Yeah. Yep. He's a great player, but not showing it right now.
Michael in Huntsville, I think Georgia's starting center is out. Bobo?
Correct. Yes. Georgia's offensive line is banged up. Absolutely.
Oh, here's a juicy rumor. Have y'all heard that Caleb Downs may be returning to Bama?
I have heard that he will be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft in April.
Haven't heard that.
I have not heard that. I wouldn't be holding my breath on that one.
Keep the text rolling in 205-834-9450. Rodney, we're at the top of the hour with Tider Insider. We'll continue to look at the different angles heading into championship weekend, what it can mean not only for Alabama, but the college football playoff rankings. We continue 3-man front on this Thursday. Thursday, three-man front leading into conference championship weekend. It all gets started tomorrow night. And people asking about where games are going to be played. Troy taking on James Madison, 6 o'clock there in Harrisonburg, Virginia on ESPN tomorrow night. Kennesaw State at Jacksonville State. 6 o'clock kick on CBS Sports Network. Then you get 24th ranked North Texas at number 22 Tulane, Yeoman Stadium for the Americans, 7 o'clock kick on ABC. UNLV and Boise on Fox at 7 o'clock as a part of that championship. Then on Saturday, it all gets started early on. BYU and Texas Tech, 11 a.m. kick on at ABC for the Big 12. Miami of Ohio out of the MAC taking on Western Michigan at 11 on ESPN. Georgia, Alabama at 3. Indiana, Ohio State at 7. Duke and Virginia at 7 in the ACC championship game.
I'll be honest. I hope Duke wins because it'd be cool just to see the chaos
so
of the two
funny.
G5 teams getting in.
I realized why we had it a couple of years ago, the interest in the Florida State Louisville game. Was it Louisville that they played?
And the ACC, yeah, that game
in the
was
ACC championship. But how many
game was awful.
And with the exception of Clemson and Notre Dame for the rematch in that pseudo whatever year that they had, I guess that was
the
pandemic.
COVID year.
Yeah. Besides that, how many ACC championship games have you really anxiously anticipated? I can't remember that many.
I'll be honest with you, and this
maybe if Clemson was involved in some years where it was potentially going to be a Clemson-Alabama matchup when we had the 14 playoff.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some because there's games like, I think we were excited to watch some regular season games now and then. I'll be honest with you, the last time I remember being like, I have to watch this ACC game, it was when Clemson and Louisville played with Lamar Jackson 9 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the last time
agree with that.
I remember being like, I have to be whatever I'm doing. I don't care. I'm watching that football game. That's the last time. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's been a minute.
No, I don't disagree. I can't think of one.
I mean, maybe the Notre Dame Clemson game in COVID year, that would be it.
Yeah.
No, it's just hard to get excited about Duke and Virginia.
Yeah, but hey, good for Manny Diaz if he can go and win a championship.
And Tony Ellett.
Yeah, that's another game. We were talking about Penn State. Maybe that's another
thought
name
of an
that's
8-5 conference champion.
been going around. Yeah, well.
Speaking of the ACC, we had the SEC ACC challenge that was continuing, right?
Oh yes, we did, Landrum. It looked like it was going one way.
It did.
And then it went the other way.
It was a tale of two nights. You had
Absolutely.
a Tuesday night, tip of the cap. Congratulations, ACC. Last night, flexed by the SEC.
Yep, ACC, they go 6-3 on Tuesday. Last night, the SEC goes 6-1, so they win the challenge 9-7. It was a fantastic night of basketball all around, but obviously Alabama and Auburn both in action. Let's start with Alabama. They played first, and they took on Clemson last night, Landrum. Alabama, they win 90-84. LeBaron Philon absolutely went ballistic for the Crimson Tide last night, as he's done really all year. But he was leading the charge for them as he had 29 points. Amari Allen had 20 points and 11 rebounds. And really a tale of two halves, right? Because Alabama, they were killing the Tigers early on. They were up 15 at halftime, and tip of the cap to Clemson because they were able to come back and actually take the lead for a while and go back and forth late in the second half, but Alabama able to close it out and get a nice victory there. So they now move to 6-2 on the season. And that was a Clemson team, 7-1. They weren't ranked, but that's a solid ACC team there that you were able to take down. So an impressive win for Alabama. Got a little dicey, but when it mattered most, you were able to get a win, and you did it without Aiden Holloway and some other key contributors being out with injuries.
Yeah. Shout out to Butta Johnson, though.
It was cool.
Transfer from UAB at Clemson. Clemson only knocked down 4 threes all night. They were 4 of 19. Butta had 2 of them.
Yeah, it was very cool to see Butta Johnson out there. He had 8 points on the night for Clemson. But, yeah, the 3-point shooting for them, they go 4 of 19. Alabama goes 12 of 34. That kind of shows you the tail of the tape there. But, again, another game where you're winning games, but Alabama getting dominated physically around the rim yet again. That's going to be a problem for them. They're going to have to find a way to box out better, get offensive rebounds because they are getting killed on the offensive glass when they play good teams, decent opponents. They're getting dominated.
Well, the good news is the bulk of their schedule's out of the way. You still got Arizona. You got UTSA coming up next. Arizona on December 13th.
Yep.
South Florida on the 17th. Kennesaw State on the 21st. Yale on the 29th. Yale can be a little bit tricky, right?
We've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen
we
that.
remember.
And then you start play against Kentucky, conference play.
That's going to be a big one. That's January 3rd, I believe, is the first SEC game. But yeah, Alabama, Kentucky, that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun when we get to that game. You also had Auburn. They were in action last night. They get a big win over the Fighting Will Wades of NC State, 83-73. Kind of a two-man show last night for Auburn, right? With Keyshawn Hall, he has 28 points, 10 rebounds. And how about this? Kevin Overton, 29 points last night, 6 of 9 from 3. Keyshawn Hall, 5 of 7. That'll play. That'll play.
That will definitely play. And what Auburn did last night that they typically don't do, they were sloppy with the basketball. A lot of turnovers. Usually, on average, this Auburn team is in single digits in turnovers, especially in a win, or just maybe a tick above 10, 11, somewhere in that range. Last night, 13 of their 20 turnovers coming in the first half. That led to 22 points off of turnovers from NC State. You had Keyshawn Hall with the 28. You mentioned 29 from Overton. Everybody else just was bad. And Stephen Pearl, Auburn's head coach, basically said so. He said, paraphrasing, I appreciate the fans for coming out. I'm sorry that you had to watch such a bad product.
Yeah, and again, right, NC State, a solid team. If you beat them by 10, even as bad as you play, right, you got to feel good about where you are because obviously, like you said, Landry, you left a lot of points on the floor and you gave a lot of points to the opposition. But, the question moving forward is he was so good in Las Vegas, but outside of Las Vegas, Todd Pettiford has really, really struggled. He had 6 points last night, only made 1 shot from the floor, did hit 4 of his 5 free throws, but 4 turnovers for him, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 6 points from a guy that was supposed to be all SEC, maybe even an All-American candidate. And again, it's a guy that we know how good he can be. We saw it last week in Las Vegas.
It's got to be between the ears, whatever's going on.
It's got to be it. But if you're Auburn, right, this is why you went out and got a guy like Keyshawn Hall, who led the Big 12 in scoring last year, to help override that and kind of help Todd Pettiford out. And going to have to get him going, though, if you want to be able to make a deep run. But you got a long ways to go before SEC play and stuff. But
yep,
Pettiford's got to be better.
Arkansas, Coach Cal, nice win that they get over Louisville last night. The 6th-ranked Louisville Cardinals, 89-80. Arkansas now 6-2 overall. Of course, still undefeated there at Bud Walton Arena. But Arkansas, no big surprise there. Vanderbilt, man.
Vanderbilt's good.
He continues to get it done. 88-69 over SMU, and that was SMU's, first loss that they've had all season.
Yep.
Vanderbilt now 9-0, ranked 17th in the country. That's a tournament team.
I would no, absolutely, and like you said, the coach such a good job of turning that around after Stackhouse left, and just what that program was. And I mean, for me growing up, and I know you're a little older than me, and so maybe it was different when you were growing up. But when I was growing up, Vanderbilt was they weren't an elite basketball program, but they were a good basketball program. Like, you could count on them making the NCAA tournament more often than not. So it's good to see them kind of getting back to that. But 9-0 is certainly impressive. They don't have any statement wins or anything right now, but hey, you play who's on your schedule and you're undefeated.
Yeah, they've been really impressive, though, in their outings that we've seen. Got to see them a little bit in the exhibition versus UAB. And that is a team that they've got weapons and very well coached. Auburn, meanwhile, the rest of their schedule, they get Arizona coming up next. That's 9 o'clock on December the 6th. So that would be on Saturday.
Yep.
And then you've got Chattanooga, Purdue, Queens, and then you start up conference play.
It's just kind of funny that, and credit to both, I guess you give credit to Bruce Pearl because he kind of helped make the schedule before he stepped down. But you give credit to Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates, right? This is what they like to do. They schedule these difficult games, and we're seeing this with Alabama and Auburn playing a lot of these same common opponents early in the season. We'll see if Alabama or Auburn can get those wins over Arizona, one of the best teams, and if Auburn can do what Alabama can and knock off Purdue. But I love playing these games early on. I know people don't like it when you lose these games. It helps you so much in the long run, playing these difficult schedules early on. So, again, kudos to Alabama and Auburn. They continue to be really, really good at that.
And then you get the Queens. Queens? You want to guess what Queens, their mascot is? It's also a Major League Baseball mascot.
The Queen.
It's not an animal.
And it's not an animal. The Nationals.
Kind of close. The Royals.
The Royal. Okay.
That makes sense.
God, that was, yeah.
It was right there.
It was right there. That makes a lot of sense.
I feel like I gave you a lot there.
You did. I dropped the ball on that one.
Christmas season.
Good for Queens. I did not know that was a team.
Yes.
The more you know.
I'll be honest. I had to click on it just to make sure.
That's one of the fun things about college basketball season. Every year, you will learn that there's a school out there that you had never heard of before.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're good.
800-239-WJOX, getting back into the conversation. Don wants to chime in. Hey, Don, welcome in.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
I've got I want to throw a couple of scenarios at you. Look, first of all, let me preface this by, I think the Big Ten is way overrated in the CFP because neither of the three teams that they have up top have really played a difficult schedule.
Fair.
And but what would happen should Alabama beat Georgia, and I'm just for the sake of this saying BYU beat Texas, would they end up with 3 byes with Oregon and?
I think if Alabama beats Georgia, I think
Indiana?
Alabama will get the 4th. I think. Well, okay, you're saying BYU beats Texas Tech actually, so then maybe Oregon would slide up. Yeah. That's an interesting scenario.
Highly and so unfair for them to get 3 of the 4 byes.
Would they be bold enough to jump BYU from 11 to 4? That would be my question.
No. Well, that's not. I don't think they jumped them.
I don't think they would either.
But I can see Oregon sliding in.
Yeah.
And they're so much in love with Ohio State and Indiana, not dropping either of them, but maybe 1 or 2 spots.
I think that's fair. Well, and with Indiana, right? Let's say they lose to Ohio State, you can't drop them behind Oregon because they beat them head to head and they have the same record at that point.
I think the biggest question is who is holding Notre Dame's place at the table right now?
It's a good question.
Good question.
Because
I just thought that was something to look at. And
yeah.
No, that's a good point, Don.
Have a good day, guys.
Hey, you as well. Thanks, Don.
I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, it would be really, it would make the BYU people really happy. But I guess that's my thing with this committee. Like, would it really surprise you if they had a change of heart and went, well, BYU just beat Texas Tech, so they avenged their only loss of the season, so it kind of negates that one loss. So you could frame it almost as they're an undefeated conference champion in the Power Four. I don't trust anything with this committee. They could get crazy and do whatever.
We'll look at the different scenarios and how chaos could ensue coming up this weekend as we continue. 3-man front on this Thursday. Rodney Orr at the top of the hour on Jocks. 10:45, three-man front. On a Thursday, we have no college football coming up tonight, at least that I know about. We do have championship games coming up tomorrow and a little buzz in the coaching carousel world, maybe, potentially, concerning one Billy Napier.
Sunbelt Billy back again, perhaps. As reports that maybe James Madison interested in having a conversation.
Sunbelt Billy's back.
I think, again,
I hope.
I know if you're a Florida fan, you're probably not fond of Billy. I think he's a good coach still. It didn't work in the SEC, didn't work at Florida, but I think at James Madison he could
Well, with Bob Chesney leaving.
do a nice job. Yeah.
No relation to
Yeah,
Kenny.
but think about the shoes you got to fill. First it was Signetti, and now
That
it's
is
Bob
very true.
Chesney. Are JMU fans protesting today?
I think he's trying to parlay this into a bigger deal from Penn State. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Penn State.
I don't know if they're at that point yet, but they might be there soon with Billy Napier.
Quickly, let's get to the text line before this crazy college football playoff scenario that we could see. 205-834-9450. Lane has shown that he hasn't become a better version of himself. He's still the same Lane. It would have been better of him if he would have told Ole Miss months ago that he was planning on leaving, giving the school a chance to go after the coaches that were available at the time. The world would have looked at Lane differently.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, it was watching a car wreck in slow motion. You knew what was going to happen. It was in the last week or so, at least.
I mean, people are always going to be upset when you leave, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And I'm just going off of what everybody else has said other than Lane Kiffin. All that he's done since the official announcement was made is he's lied about things. I mean, he straight up lied. I mean, when you have people coming out from the state of Mississippi saying, we got no police reports of people trying to run Lane Kiffin off the road. Like, he's saying people are threatening his life when he's leaving Oxford. First off, based on the way you handled it, why are you surprised? But B, like, why would you lie about that stuff? He's burned every bridge that he's stepped on. It's so bizarre.
Originally, I thought that this was Lane and whatever he was leveraging, money, whatever, this would get worked out. He would sign an extension. He'd get a new deal when all of this buzz came out. He got Ole Miss's attention. They came to him and signed the deal and be done with it. But then as it played out, and then you started getting reports of other things that were going on in like the last week of the search. A lot of it was just unnecessary.
Absolutely. And I have to give credit because I did see Keith Carter did an interview earlier this week kind of talking about it. And he handled it in as professional of a way as possible by insinuating that Lane Kiffin is a scumbag, but not outright saying it. And I think that's the perfect way for him to handle it. Because, it would be hard to be cordial after that situation. But I thought Keith Carter did a good job of that.
For sure. What bowl game is LSU going to? Fat Joe wants to know. Molly's our bowl projection expert.
I think I've seen the Las Vegas Bowl, and I've also seen Music City Bowl. Last projections I checked.
Was this the one where it was Nebraska LSU?
It sure was. Could you imagine that?
Molly, that would be so much fun for you.
I would love that.
That would be so much fun.
I would book my ticket today if that was announced.
I called it. I was asking how long we were going to get. How long would it take for somebody to Photoshop Lane Kiffin's face on Tiger King? We have it, Molly. I'm revealing it to you now.
Oh, that is wonderful.
It's actually more disturbing than the actual Tiger King.
It is more disturbing. He could
is.
pull this off.
I don't like that.
We need to get him that wig.
It's a great Photoshop. Oh. I mean, he's already got a Halloween costume for every year he's in Baton Rouge.
That's true.
And then Layla can be Carol Baskins.
So
or Landry, whatever.
No. Don't put that on those two
Maybe
women.
not.
Don't put that on Landry and don't put that on Layla. I'm going to defend them.
Wouldn't that be so good? Okay, but seriously, even if he didn't do that, Witt and Landry, come on. That'd be fun.
A lot of interesting and fun, entertaining. A couple of them naughty texts coming in. We will get to those as we continue. But Conrad, you've got a college football playoff scenario that might turn the world upside down.
Yeah, so let me preface this. I think there's I don't even know if there's a 1% chance of this is happening. But again, with this committee, I guess you never say never with certain things. So let me preface this. In order for this to happen in my head, the way that I worked it out, Alabama has to beat Georgia on Saturday and Texas Tech has to beat BYU.
Okay.
So Alabama wins the SEC title game. Texas Tech wins the Big 12 title game.
All right.
All right. My theory with this, I don't think the committee loves Oklahoma, but they can't do anything with them because they beat Alabama, right? So if Alabama wins the SEC championship, that gives them a path to elevate Alabama over Oklahoma, and it kind of prevents Oklahoma, or it opens the door if they wanted to move Oklahoma back where they could do that. We saw this week they put Texas over Notre Dame. And why did they do that? Because Texas beat them head to head, even though they have one more loss on their schedule than Vanderbilt does.
Texas A&M.
No, Texas.
Texas.
So my theory is that you could see the committee jump Miami over Notre Dame, because I do think that ultimately will happen. But if they do that, I think it could also open the door potentially to see a Texas jump in Oklahoma, because it would be the same argument over Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
You jumped them over a Vanderbilt team that they beat head to head, that had one more win than they did in the regular season. On top of the fact that Texas kind of killed Oklahoma, it wasn't really a competitive game. That's just my crazy, throw something on the wall and see if it sticks kind of scenario.
That's interesting.
But I do think ultimately, because I said this yesterday, I think they will ultimately put Miami over Notre Dame. I think they're going to have to honor that head-to-head. And if they do that, I think they also start looking at other head-to-heads and go, well, maybe we think Texas is better than Oklahoma. It's not going to affect how many SEC teams get in. It would really tick some people off. Really tick some people off. But we've seen them not have the greatest reasoning for decisions. And at least this one, you could go to the metric that I think most people universally agree is the most important, which is head-to-head. And then you would have kind of a cop-out of, well, we saw these teams play on the field. That was the tiebreaker. We're giving them the head-to-head. And people would say, well, why did it take you so long to do it? Why did it take them so long to move Alabama over Notre Dame? Who knows? But they did it.
I would love to see a college football playoff field this year just because of the two teams in question, Notre Dame and Miami. I would love to see them a part of it. Let's just play it out, however that looks.
Yeah. Have a playing game like Clark Lee wanted Vanderbilt to do.
Well, and last year, what we had was we had South Carolina, we had Alabama, we had Ole Miss, the three SEC teams that were on the outside looking in. And I think we could have looked and said, yeah, I would put this team, this team, this team. I would like to see this particular matchup.
Because I do think if Texas Tech wins the Big 12 championship, and this is just my opinion, but I am very convicted that they will then jump Miami over BYU, which will put Notre Dame and Miami next to each other. And then you would have to give Notre Dame or Miami the nod over Notre Dame because they're right next to each other. And again, that would then just spitballing here.
This is why I want to expand it, though.
Well,
I want more of these play-in games. I want play-in games. I think the play-in game idea is a good idea.
Well, let's hope that
it's
by
more college football.
The end of January, they have an agreement on how many teams we're going to have for next year. Otherwise, we're going to have 12 teams again like this.
You got states that are holding out, not signing agreements.
This always happens, though, when we have it's the same thing in the 4-team playoff, right? Like maybe every other year or 2 out of 3 years, you would always have, man, this is the year to expand it. We've got too many teams that deserve to be in. And then next year we'll end up with 16, spots open, and we'll be like, man, there's only like 9 teams that are deserving of being in the playoff. That's just how it works.
But then every year, if you were to expand to 16, that team that's at number 17 would then post their resume and be like, this is why we deserve to be in. You're going to have this every year.
Yeah, but at that point, when you get to 17, you really don't care.
No. I was about to say the argument's a little less, but yes, Molly, that would continue to happen. You'll have a lot of BYUs of the world. I will just say this:
you're an 8-3 team that played in the Mountain West. Stop it.
Yes,
exactly.
It is wild to me if you follow BYU football on Twitter. They are directly tweeting at media members, making their argument for the playoff. It's pretty embarrassing. It's also funny, but that's where we are, right? People are lobbying and coming up with, their own logic and reasonings for why they deserve to be ranked.
Maybe it's not a bad idea. At least you know that you did all you could.
Again,
let's not poo-poo it, Conrad.
Any school is going to do that. But it's funny when you post a graphic that's, we have more wins over 6-6 teams than Alabama.
I do think at the end of the day, we're going to have the most outrage that we've seen probably in a long time.
On Sunday?
Yes. I think there's going to be a lot of really upset people.
People weren't happy on Tuesday night.
No.
What's the temperature in Tuscaloosa?
Cold.
It's cold.
But hot on the recruiting trail.
That's right. Rodney Orr, Tider Insider, breaking down this weekend's SEC championship game versus Georgia, the Tide's latest recruiting haul, and much more. Thursday edition of Three Man Front continues. Your home for college football and more.